Alright battlers, welcome back to a brand new Pokemon Go video. This is our first look at the Ultra League Premier Cup. In today's video, we are going to use PvPoke's Ultra Premier Cup Starter Pack. This includes some of the best Pokemon that you can use in the Ultra League, some of their top counter picks, and then at the very bottom, example teams that are well balanced and strong. I will leave a link to this graphic and PvPoke.com down in the description below, so check him out right away. Looking over these example teams, we're going to grab that triple starter line from the top left and then the other team at the bottom right, and then we're going to take these three counter picks and make a team out of them. Jumping right into this all-starter team, Venusaur, Charizard, and Swampert. I picked this because these are three Pokemon that a lot of battlers have access to, and these are all Community Day moves. We do swap out there because the Scavalier is probably the hardest counter to Venusaur in this meta. Being a bug and steel, it's going to double resist everything that Venusaur can throw at it. We're going to shield that Mega Horn here and go for the Hydro Cannon. Now, I did swap into Swampert as my soft counter to a Scavalier. As you probably are well aware, Charizard is a very hard counter to a Scavalier, the Fire Spin alone doing super effective damage, but Swampert is going to put nice pressure here with the Hydro Cannons. I don't want to shield again because I want to save a shield, and although the shields are important in the Ultra League Premier Cup, I find that energy advantage is even more important, so we're going to farm up there with our Charizard, keeping one shield each. Out comes Alolan Muck. Now, Charizard with an energy advantage is so incredibly deadly. You can get to these blast burns extremely quickly, and as you're going to see here, we don't even need to really bait. We're going to go straight blast burn, and I also like Charizard in this cup because the fire spins add up. Putting that Muck in blast burn KO range, we are going to whittle it down with the fire spins, make the swap here because we don't want to catch a sludge wave on Muck, or excuse me, from Muck onto Venusaur. We're going to catch that Dark Pulse instead. My opponent comes in with their last Pokemon, which is Berserker. Berserker, a very interesting steel-type Pokemon. I don't know how much play it has in the Ultra League Premier Cup, but it is really fun in the regular Ultra League because it does help you against those ghost types. We're going to sink our second Frenzy Plant into Berserker, but it does survive. It does have quite a bit of energy as well, so my Charizard's going to come in here, and I need to survive a foul play. Battlers, can we do it? We hang on, and the Fire Spin KOs. That Alolan Muck is still hanging out, but we Fire Spin down for the win. Going to the second game with this all-starter team, I do like this team against Charmers as well because Venusaur's Sludge Bomb and Charizard's typing gives it resistance, so it is a really nice squad to use. In comes Obstagoon here, and my opponent is actually going to pull a switch into Typhlosion. Going to go right here into my Swampert. As you know, Typhlosion packing Shadow Claw, Blast Burn, and Solar Beam with really nice coverage. We don't want to take a beam, so we do shield, but it will be the Blast Burn. Going to go for a Hydro Cannon here against this Typhlosion. And if you didn't know this, battlers, cool bit of trivia, Typhlosion and Charizard have exactly the same stats. Really cool that they did that with those two fire type starters. But we are going to continue to put on pressure on this Typhlosion with our second Hydro Cannon. This one will go unshielded, KOing Typhlosion. We are down 0 shields to 1 though, so we are at kind of a disadvantage here. In comes the Obstagoon. I know this is just a Night Slash. Swampert is going to tank that, but my hope here is to get to 2 Hydro Cannons. After this one, we are just 1 mud shot away. Battlers, can we get there? And we do. Even after a little desync there where we slowed down, we are able to get to the second Hydro Cannon, bringing that Obstagoon really low. And I look for the swap, but this is actually better because my opponent spends their energy here. When I'm at 0 energy like that, I do think countering down is the right move, but I come in here with Charizard and my opponent gets off 1 more charge move. Night Slash is not a huge deal, but we got a couple of Fire Spins on Charizard, which is really nice. This is probably a Shadow Punch. Can we survive it? We do. Another great facet to Charizard play in the Ultra League is that you really get to tap into those nice stats that Charizard has, allowing it to survive attacks. In Great League, it's so squishy. Fast swap into Venusaur for the Frenzy Plant. Gengar survives. Anything less than a Shadow Ball will not kill us. We are able to farm down, and then we're going to go straight for a Frenzy Plant here to wrap up this game. Switching teams into that bottom right-hand corner team, Empoleon with the new Drill Peck, Gallade, and then Gengar with its Shadow Punch move. Here we go with Empoleon into Slowbro, a spicier pick that I haven't really seen a lot of in the Ultra League Premier Cup, but it could be pretty good. I'm a little bit divided on whether or not you should be running Water Gun or Confusion. My opponent is going to use a Psychic there, but the Steel type does resist that. Empoleon in the Ultra League Premier Cup is a total stud. I'm really enjoying Empoleon. We bring in the Gengar and try to farm down, but the Shadow Claws aren't doing nearly as much. As you can tell, compared to Great League, these fast moves are not going to do as much because the Pokemon are much bulkier. In comes Ampharos, another spicy Pokemon that I haven't seen a lot of. I'm actually going to shield here because I do have some energy together. I'm going to try to maybe bait Shadow Punch and then try to throw a Shadow Ball here to force my opponent's shields. He does shield up that first one, which is really nice, and I remember that it only takes a couple of those Volt Switches to get to the second Thunder Punch, so we are going to go for the Shadow Punch there. My opponent is going to fire up another attack. It will be a Thunder Punch bringing down Gengar. And at this point, my opponent is out of shields, but that Ampharos does have some energy. Swapping and then swapping again. Here comes Empoleon into a Scavalier. We are going to go straight here for the Hydro Cannon. This is the better move against a Bug Steel like a Scavalier because that Waterfall and Hydro Cannon damage is same type attack bonus or stab, whereas the Drill Peck is not. Going to go ahead and Confusion down a Scavalier, and we have a close combat loaded on Gallade to wrap up this battle. Going to a second game with the same team, Empoleon lead into Swampert. Another cool facet of Empoleon play is that it generally beats Swampert, except for this case right here. I'm going to call my opponent's bluff, and it does not go well. Empoleon is KO'd, out of the picture. Earthquake is so extremely devastating. We always forget it also has Stab on Swampert, being a ground type Pokemon. We're going to try to attempt to farm down there, but again, these Pokemon much bulkier here in the Ultra League than they are in the Great League. We finally Leaf Blade to KO the Swampert. In comes Togekiss, and this is not good. Going to go ahead and fire off a close combat here as a parting gift, and then I need to make the swap here into Gengar. Gengar is going to come in here, and those charms aren't doing a ton of damage, but they are chunking away. Going to go ahead and fire off a Shadow Punch here, and Togekiss does shield. In comes Alolan Sandslash, another very spicy Pokemon that we haven't seen a lot of. I really wanted to showcase these battles to you because these are the top picks that a lot of players are going to use, and I take them up against a lot of spicier picks. So if you're enjoying this footage so far, leave me a like, comment down below what you think of the battles, and then subscribe to see more. Ice Punch is going to KO Gengar, especially with the shields down, and we are really out of luck here. Gallade barely getting to that Leaf Blade, but another Ice Punch is going to KO. GG's. Going into this third battle with this team, I really liked it, so I tried it 3 times. Empoleon into Charizard is actually pretty nice. You don't want to take that Blast Burn, but these waterfalls, as you can tell, are chunking away. In comes Obstagoon, and that is the one flaw I think in this team. It doesn't really have an answer for dark types. I mean, besides your Gallade's close combat, which is very risky to use, there aren't a whole lot of ways out of this. I do shield up the Cross Chop there and push for one more Hydro Cannon though. Hydro Cannon going to take a nice chunk out of Obstagoon, but it is extremely thick. My opponent farms me all the way down, so I know they have Night Slashes ready. Gallade is a fighting and psychic type Pokemon, so this isn't going to be doing, or actually I thought it was a Night Slash, but the Cross Chop in particular won't do that much damage. But I was about to say that the Night Slash is not going to be super effective, but he does get the boost at the last moment, barely able to Confusion down. In comes that Charizard, and I'm in a really tough spot here. I decide not to shield, but Gallade holding on. It doesn't really have anything it can do against Charizard as well. Close Combat and Leaf Blade both being resisted, but we do grab that first shield. In comes Gengar, and as you can tell, battlers, that Shadow Punch is extremely fast. We get there, KO the Charizard, out comes Swampert, and this is the closing power of a Gengar with a shield. Gonna go ahead and shield up the Hydro Cannon here. Will this Shadow Ball be enough? It absolutely is. GG's. Battlers, if you stayed this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to showcase in the very last battle one of my teams that I've been using. I will feature it very soon. But for this battle, we're going to use all three of these counter picks: Dragonite, Gallade, and Obstagoon. These are all meta breakers in their own way, and I piled them all up on the same team. I really like these battles here, and I'm going to tell you a few reasons why. I do have that Shadow Dragonite. As you can tell, Dragon Breath very impressive, but we swap here into the Obstagoon. This Muck needs to land these Sludge Waves in order to KO Obstagoon, and it does land that first one. We're going to work up really high in energy though, and we've got 2 Night Slashes and maybe 1 or 2 more counters extra. My opponent is going to shield that, probably assuming it might be a Gunk Shot or a Hyper Beam, so that's really good for us. Going to fire up another Night Slash here, fishing for the boost, but we don't quite get it. I'm expecting another Sludge Wave here, and it is. Alola still a very strong pick in Ultra League Premier Cup. I do recommend it, and I think I'll be using it pretty soon, but our Dragonite is not able to Dragon Breath down. I do love the Shadow Dragonite for the extra damage here. As you can tell, a little bit squishier than a regular Dragonite, but still a great Pokemon. In comes that Charizard here, and we're going to go for the Leaf Blade to force this final shield. We do grab that shield. Charizard is going to get to an attack here, and our Confusion is not going to count because the Blast Burn, actually it does count. I was going to say if the Gallade fainted, it wouldn't count. In comes our last Pokemon, which is Sceptile, and this Hurricane is going to rock this Grass-type Pokemon. Going to the next match here, we do have Dragonite versus Gyarados. I hate this matchup because Gyarados, not being a Dragon type, is not going to take super effective from Dragon type attacks. This is really where this all counter team kind of falls apart, as you're going to see here in a moment when the Charmer comes out. Dragonite, Gallade, and Obstagoon all sharing that weakness to Charm. If you see a Togekiss or a Clefable, you are in big trouble here. I don't know exactly what to do here because we've got 2 really terrible options. I do come in here with the Dragonite, and as you can tell, different from Ultra League to Master League, that Dragonite cannot survive long enough to get to the Hurricane. Sometimes in Master League Premier Cup, you'd be able to swap in your Dragonite, get a few Dragon Breaths off, and then before the Togekiss swap came in and deleted you with Charm, you were able to get to the Hurricane, but that is not the case in the Ultra League because you are a lot less bulky. We try to counter down, but that is GG's. Previewing my double Shadow exclusive team that you're going to see very soon: Shadow Dragonite and Shadow Snorlax with Empoleon in between. I open that Shadow Snorlax into this Charizard. I do swap here into my Empoleon, and my opponent is not switching out, which tells me they want to get this energy off, and they might not have a great answer for Empoleon in the back, and they come into their Charmer, a critical mistake. I think this might have even been a misclick because the Steel type on Empoleon is going to do really well resisting these Charms, and the Waterfalls are going to chunk away over time. Charm is a really big weapon in the Ultra League Premier Cup. I think it's got a ton of play, and the main reason is that there are very few Steel types. Empoleon seems to be the rare exception, but you also have access to things like Magnezone, which is very bait dependent, and the list kind of stops there. And I realize here why my opponent swapped out, because they're running that famous CCO Charizard double Charmer line, and Empoleon is putting in work, unable to get to that final Hydro Cannon there, but it's okay. I have my switch tray open, anticipating the swap. In comes the Charizard, just like we assumed, and we're going to Dragon Breath down. Even with this energy advantage, let's see if we can get to the Hurricane. And we barely do, hanging on with 1 HP. Hurricane is going to win us this game. Battlers, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.